Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all our participants from all around the globe. Welcome to our second installment of the Students' Conclave session with Team EESC-USP Formula SAE. My name is Kathy D'Souza, and I'm the event chair of the Formula Bharat competition, which is the host of the Students' Conclave series. Before we begin today's session, and while we still have many participants joining in, I wanted to quickly introduce to you Formula Bharat competition and our various initiatives for this competition season. Formula Bharat is an Indian student competition hosted by the parent company Curiosum Tech, and it was launched in 2017 primarily by the alumni of FS teams across the country. Today, the competition hosts both combustion and electric categories. Our on-site competition in 2020 saw participation of 78 teams in total, and our recent virtual event at 83 teams. The on-site competition typically takes place in the third week of January at the Curry Motor Speedway in Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. Our 21-22 season calendar is currently packed with events geared towards the student learning experience, from virtual racing to an EV concept challenge to hosting 2 sets of Formula Bharat events, virtual and on-site. This season is going to be an interesting one. We have also launched a few initiatives as well to support the FS ecosystem. One of it is a Students' Conclave initiative along with the Formula Bharat Academy series. This past week, we opened registrations for our first event, Revit, a virtual racing competition in collaboration with IRE Sports. It is an opportunity for teams to focus on its vehicle dynamic setup and the driver training on a virtual platform. At the same time, it provides a good occasion for student team engagement. Registrations end on May 2nd, and you can find more information of the event on www.formulabharat.com/revit. We have also launched registrations for our annual FS Electric Vehicle Concept Challenge. If you're planning to switch to electric, this is our recommendation towards a 3-step process. The competition requires you to not just present your EV design concept, but also provide your strategies towards team management and procurement. Registrations end on June 4th, and you can find more information on our website at formulabharat.com/FSEV. Thank you for your time and attention. On behalf of Formula Bharat, we would like to thank Team EESC-USP Formula SAE for their efforts towards the Students' Conclave initiative and to Claude Rouelle for launching the same. Now on to you, Pedro.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Katie. Very interesting to hear. Very interesting this Revit presentation. I think it's going to be very useful. Well, guys, my name is Pedro Calorio. We are here on the behalf of our team from University of São Paulo that we call EESC in Portuguese, but you can call University of São Paulo if this is like easier. And yeah, we're going to have an interesting chat about team organization, people organization, and some other very important things that we're very happy to share with you. And yeah, that's me. I would like my friends to introduce themselves so we can go on with the presentation.
Hello, I'm Eduardo. I'm the captain of the team. I joined the team in 2018. I participated in the powertrain group until the beginning of 2021 when I became the captain. And in the college, I do mechanical engineer. Filipe can introduce him too.
Hi guys, my name is Filipe Stecconi. I'm the principal director of the team. I joined to the team 3 years ago. I joined into aerodynamic team, and now I work with management. Now, Victoria, can you introduce you?
Hi, my name is Victoria. I am a student of material engineer, and I joined the team last year, and today I am a marketing manager.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, guys. I'm going to share my screen so we can begin our presentation. Sorry, but first we're going to hear a few words from our former member, Bruno Finco. He graduated like 3 years ago, and he now works with a racing car. He works at Optimum G, and he used to be a member of our team. And we're going to hear a few words about him on his perspective on Formula student and how it was useful for him. So please go on, Bruno.
Hello, everyone. Can you guys hear me and see me fine?
Yes.
Cool. All right, so I am Bruno, and I'm an alumni of University of São Paulo Formula SAE. I graduated 4 years ago, and I'm currently a performance and vehicle dynamics engineer at Optimum G. So actually, I'm even in Barcelona in this exact moment for the first round of the ELMS Endurance Championship starting this week. I was part of the team for almost 5 years throughout my graduation. I went from freshman, then to head of the suspension department, to head of vehicle dynamics, on-track testing, and design presentation as well. So during this time, we won the overall Brazilian competition twice, together with multiple design presentation overall wins, as well as other dynamic events wins. We also went to the USA to take part in the Michigan competition, where we scored a 6th place in design presentation among 140 teams. Now, after 4 years working professionally in motorsports, I can then look back at my experience in Formula Student and put into words some of my most important learnings from that time. As you will see, they're not related to vehicle dynamics. They're actually related more about learning about yourself. And I would like to quickly share a few of these realizations with you, with the hopes that you could look at some aspects of Formula Student experience in a with different eyes. So realization number 1 is that Formula Student made me a lot more organized, more disciplined, and more results driven. Because as in racing, as in professional racing, this is the only way that you can succeed in Formula Student. And it was the only way and the only reason we did succeed in Formula Student. We created a culture of disciplined organization and about being results driven. And I learned that if you're only disciplined and even hardworking, but you're not moving deliberately towards tangible results, you will get nowhere. You'll get no results, or at least no tangible results. Realization number 2, Formula Student made me face reality. In this project, it is not about numbers on a paper like it is when we're studying a specific subject. You are facing facts. If you did a good job, your car is going to be ready on time and it will be faster than last year's. On the other hand, if your car's rollout is delayed or if your car is slower, it is clear you made a mistake. So there is no sugarcoating. It really holds your feet to the fire. And it burns, it hurts. But what I learned is that this burn is actually good because it forces us to grow. It makes us accountable for everything we do. And then we have no other option other than getting better at what we do. So this was very important. So how to learn to actually enjoy this burn and this accountability is something that I bring from Formula Student. Realization number 3 is that even bad times in Formula Student were extremely valuable, as much as the good ones. I'll list a few examples of difficult times and what we can learn from them. So working under extreme pressure, it's something that everyone is gonna face in Formula Student. The more you work under pressure, the better you can handle it and the easier it gets. When you are a race engineer, for example, for those that want to work with motorsports, you have to make a decision many times in less than 10 seconds, which involves very complicated scenarios, and there might be millions of dollars into play, into that specific decision. So how would we do that if we had no experience with working under pressure? So it is actually good that this happens when we are working with Formula Student, because it gives us the possibility of practicing. So difficult situation example number 2 is working with tight schedules. In Formula Student, we will fail to accomplish some or many of our plans because we didn't plan accordingly and because we have so much to get done. But at least we have the chance to learn from it. And I learned it is better for everyone, for people above you or below you, to under-promise and over-deliver than over-promise and under-deliver. And most of us learn it the hard way, making this mistake many and many times until we learn what is indeed feasible in that amount of time. So it is great that we have the chance to practice it during our Formula Student experience. Another example of difficult situations would be the high workload that we have, forces us to be more efficient and focus on what is essential. Looking back, I see that a lot of what I did in the team was not essential and it was not worth at the time. But I only learned it because I made this mistake. So it's a great opportunity for us to make such mistakes. And last example of difficult situation are the conflicts that we have with other members. Fighting is not good, but they happen and we can learn how to get better at managing and solving these conflicts. We're going to have these conflicts later on in our professional lives, so why not using Formula Student to get better at managing those? So these are some examples of how even the difficult times in Formula Student can be very beneficial if we're able to look at the big picture. And this was realization number 3. So realization number 4, and almost the last one, is that motivating your team members is life-changing for both sides, for you and for them. So being Formula Student, being it in Formula Student or in your profession or even among family and friends, motivating people is something that you learn and then you can improve. And there is no better place to learn and practice this skill than in Formula Student. And then the last realization I wanted to share is that in Formula Student, you have the chance of learning how to be demanding with your members, for example, but at the same time, always respectful. And it's something that even people, when they're professionally, sometimes they lack that. So it's very important that we try to learn this early on. So you will learn how not to disrespect people, especially people who are below you. You're still expecting a good work and good results from them. And you learn especially how not to demotivate people, because this is the worst thing you could do to a team member. So this is something that I learned in Formula Student, and I think it's a very useful experience for me now in the professional world. As you can see, some of my most important remarks from my Formula Student time is not about cars or about vehicle dynamics. It is about yourself. So it should be obvious to everyone that this project benefits people who want or do not want to work in the automotive or motorsport industry. It's very good for everyone in their professional and even personal lives. So my final advice is enjoy the roller coaster. There are going to be highs and there are going to be lows. And you should learn how to see the value and enjoy both of them, because we're very privileged to have such an opportunity. All right, that's it from my side. These were some of the perspectives that I learned from Formula Student that I see nowadays how useful it is 4 years after I graduated. And I hope it could give you a few ideas and perspectives. And yeah, that's it from my side. Now you guys have fun with the insights from University of São Paulo team with the material that they prepared to share with you. And I'll see you guys out there.
Thanks, Bruno.
Thanks a lot, Bruno. There's definitely, there wasn't a better way to start this event. Thanks a lot, man. So can you hear me now, right?
Yes.
Well, thank you. So let's begin with the presentation then. Just a little bit about who we are. As we mentioned, our name is University of São Paulo, and you see that our team is named like EESC. We say in Portuguese, EESC. Don't bother to speak that, but it comes from the unity of our university, which is a school of engineering. So in our university, we deal with engineers, and the formula is a multi-engineering activity. So we can benefit from the knowledge from both, from all areas of engineering, which is very, very interesting. And below you can see a picture of our workshop, people working, which is like the best way to see the workshop, with people working really hard and really pushing themselves. And we also are the greatest skid pad winners in the Formula Brazil competition by winning 5 times since it officially began in 2010. And we also are the greatest design presentations winners, winning 9 times. And it's an event that our team really focused, and we really push them ourselves to be the best in the design project. And we also won the competition four of the times, and the competition is getting harder and harder because the team are really getting very stronger. Now with the presentation itself, I would like to have a few words that we, the Brazilians and you Indians, we have more in common than you might think. Our both countries face some kind of economical difficulties, and which this reflects a lot, I think, in our Formula student world, in engineering of universities and budgets and so on. So it's like a reality that we both share. We are facing some issues due to the COVID-19, and this is like holding us back from doing some things that we would like to be done right now. And in general, the Formula teams from both countries does not swim in money. I believe that's not a reality that you guys have in India too, like a lot of money to do a lot of complex projects, and we need to evaluate this. And we are also very determined people. I think we can see that from a few examples that we like really to focus on something and get it done. And we are also here to show you that the Brazilian people are not about soccer and samba as you might think. So we want to break this vision that some of you might have, which is very normal. So the purpose of this presentation in general was to give some insights for you guys on how to set the goals and start defining your actions during the year based into what you define to do, what you propose as a team to do. And also some insights on people and team organization and why we do like that. And you might disagree, but it's like we do, and we want to share this with you. And also, we would like to give some insights on how the people are the focus on Formula Student. It's all about the people, actually. And also, how important is the team to have its own culture, as we're going to see. Very interesting chat that we're going to have with Filipe. And also some insights on fundraising and sponsorship that is linked to the lack of resources. So we can manage to do a decent project without having a lot of money or a lot of resources. So the content of this presentation will be divided in three, actually, by starting with team organization aspects with me and Eduardo, which is the longer part. And then we're going to have a break and have a little chat, answer some questions that you guys might have. And then we're going to go through people organization with Filipe. This is my favorite part. Actually, you're going to see that we might be some kind of crazy people, but it's not like that. And then we're going to go some with fundraising and sponsorship with Victoria. Very interesting too. And later we wanted to have a Q&A where we want to hear from you, like you with your cameras on, and maybe we can have a chat and discuss some of the aspects that have been discussed during this meeting. So by beginning the first half of the presentation with team organization, me and my friend Eduardo is going to have a chat on this one. So let's start by saying the importance of setting the goals in Formula Student. We believe that is all about asking the right questions. You need to start asking your questions as a team to see where it goes, where all what you are planning to do the year might lead you. So some of these questions might be, what is the real goal for the team? How do you achieve that? You see that I'm highlighting terms that captures the essence of how it's like a group, a team. It's a team decision, not an individual decision. And this is very important because sometimes we often face problems that are related to ego, and that's going to be talked with more in depth with Filipe, but it is very important that the team manage to do those decisions. Also, what needs to be done in order to reach our goal? And sometimes we know we want to do something, but it seems so far away from actually achieving this. So we might need sometimes to take a few steps and broken into more and more things. So we need to go walking on shorter steps. And some of those questions might really help you in finding the right path for you. We believe that. And well, going through from goals to actions, you first needed to have in mind some aspects that are very important. Here are some of them. be sure about your limitations, whether it's like a budget limitation or a manufacturing facility limitation. Let me give you an example. You might spend like 3 months in designing a complex upright, but then when it comes the time for manufacturing it, you don't have like a manufacturing facility to fabricate it. So your time will be useless. So here's another part that is important related to formula. It is allowed to dream, but you also need to be realistic to know where you are at and keep the foot on the ground. And also, you very important to estimate each time for each step, like how much time you're going to spend in designing it, in manufacturing, in testing until it's reliable, because otherwise it's useless. So having those aspects in mind will really help you to define your actions. And also, after you made a decision, think about it again, evaluate within the team if this is really helping you go towards your goal, because sometimes you might think that this might help, but you're missing a tiny little bit and you need to rethink about that. And another thing that is important to have in mind is that we live in different realities. There is a starting team reality and the experienced team reality. Because a starting team will be automatically make mistakes, and because it doesn't have like much experience in it, so it will need to go through some mistakes, get his hands dirty, so we can learn from it, as Bruno said in the beginning. And whereas experienced team, hopefully we will have learned from the previous mistake and know where the issues and the challenges are. You see that I use the word hopefully, and you start to see the importance of documentation, because if the team is not aware of that and this is not documented, you doesn't know that, so you're going to make the same mistakes. We're going to go through this topic again in this meeting, but it's very important. And also, a starting team is still in the process of learning to improve, whether it's in the car or the static events, whereas an experienced team have more background on this, both static events and on car related. So there is different realities, thus there's different goals, thus there's different plans. But how do we start by making our actions? How do we even begin with all of this in mind? We believe that a good way is to analyze what happened in the previous year, so you can see what went wrong or what went right, analyze it, and then you go stronger for the next year. I will give you an example now. I wanted to say that this is an example. It can be applied for any objective that you might have in Formula Student. We're going to give you our example because it's something that we are working on in some years. So here's an example. We have here a graph of the overall points in the competition in Brazil through the years. And we can see that from and our team is highlighted in yellow. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. And we can see that from 17, 18, and 19, our team started to lose a relevant amount of points. And we need to ask ourselves, what is happening in this three last competition that we have lost a relevant amount of points when compared to 2016, where we won the competition, by the way? What is happening here that we're not making much progress in this? So the answer to this is we're not finished the endurance events. It's not like we're not making any progress. We are. The team is improving in a lot of areas, but the endurance is like the most important part. It's like 1/3 of the points. Unless you don't complete it, you're not going to have a chance to fight for the first place in overall. So our goal is clearly to finish the endurance. So we're going to share a few thoughts that we as a team have in order to accomplish this. So we know that our goal is to finish the endurance. And then when we start to analyzing it, there's two kinds of tasks related to this goal. There is the tests that are related to the car, and there are the tests that are non-related to the car. And from the tests that are related to the car, we see an example from them is like, we need that all the areas and systems are reliable and the car is reasonable fast. And from the non-related car, we need to have a driver with decent experience, and we have to have organized schedule. So we have a control in the competition when the competition comes. And by reliability of all the system, there's so many things here as engine powertrain reliability, suspension parts reliability, the chassis, the exhaust system, and the list goes on and on. And for having a reasonable fast car, you need to have a great engine choice. We need to have a good suspension design, a great chassis design, a good aero design. This is not aero is very debatable, but I think you're starting to see the essence of the point. And also driver, very important, guys. If you have a good driver that is very disciplined and have experience, you might win like 3 or 2 seconds, which is a lot in race. I'm sure you know about that. So you need to have driver's practice. I think that I really like that thing that Kat showed us in the beginning of the competition. It is an excellent opportunity for you to train your driver. And also for making tests, organizing tests, so your drivers learn from it, and you started to win some seconds there, learn about suspension setup, vehicle dynamics, and so on. And also having an organized schedule. For example, you could evaluate it within the team to have a simulation of the competition. You're going to simulate the pressure, the tight schedules, and so on. And you're going to be less successful to error when the time comes. So very important. And you started to see that all those requirements are big, very big, and can be broken into more and more pieces. And you started to see the importance of documentation and organization to make sure that all of this is going to be followed and implemented. So now that we're more aware of the bigger picture, we want to know how to monitor our progress, because we know that we have to do some tasks, and how we're going to monitor if this is going to be done, and the path we're taking. And we believe in our team that our success is related to the amount and the quality of our work. And the quality of our work lies on discipline, taking the right decisions, and organization. This is it is interesting because me and Bruno are from totally different generations, but we have this, we share the same values. And this was mentioned by him in his presentation. And we believe that we want to make sure of that. So how do we make sure of that? We need to make sure that you have productive locally. So what I mean about that, you need to make sure that the head of the chassis, the head of the exhaust, they are all going to do their work properly. So in the end, they all converge to the same point, which is the objective that you trace. So you start to see why it's a team. Each person doing his job is going to make the team go forward and forward. And the subsystem interconnection. Each area must speak the same language as the other. For example, the head of the chassis it must be in the same wavelength of the head of the suspension when designing the hard points. Otherwise, you're going to have some real issues there. And locally, all the subsystems, all the areas must be aware of the bigger picture. So the guy knows all the steps that need to be done in order for you to have your car done. And then you will be exposed to setting the priorities and dividing tasks, because the guy that is in charge is not going to do all the job. He's going to divide tasks for his member, for his newcomers, so they can learn from it also. And this is how Formula works, actually. And we do monitor our progress using a tool named Basecamp. Eduardo is going to talk more about this tool, actually. But I wanted to say, you guys, that this is a mere tool. And what is important is to have the discipline to make a good use of it, as I said before. So there's a lot of software management tools, and I'm sure you're going to find what works best for your team. And another part that is very important, that is related to all those actions and goals, is defining the year schedule. And what I mean about that is defining how much time you're going to spend in design, in building, and in testing your car. This is very important, because what you define as a goal will influence this. So you might think that, well, I'm going to spend the 3 parts, like 3 equal parts. I'm going to spend the time divided in 3. And then I can, like, I don't know, have work hard in all the 3 areas, and I don't know, have a decent job there. But you start to see that if you choose an objective, this will impact in this. So in our example, we want to finish the endurance. We saw that it's very important to have a car that is reliable and a good driver also. And well, these two are related to testing, because if we spend more time in testing, we're going to have a reliable car. We're going to have a driver that is that knows about the car, that is going to be going faster, and so on. So we started to see that testing is more important than the other parts, because our objective. So let's going to spend more time in testing then, of course. And then the other question came, well, and what about design and building? And actually, this is very interesting that our team believes, because if you design, you take more time and thinking about the design and actually planning how your manufacturing period will be, how you're going to actually build the car, how all those areas are going to connect with each other, well, you're going to be optimizing your building time, your manufacturing time. So we do believe that the second most part of the time is going to be spent in design, because then you're going to have, you make sure that you do a good design, you're going to review all your simulations and so on, and then you're going to spend the last part of the time by planning it, by making sure that everything is going to be right. So that's why we believe that the time should be spent like that once we have defined our goals. That's very important to mention. And a final comment about this one, as you see, we didn't finish the endurance in like 3 years, but there's something happening here. You know that you always have something to learn as a team. The learning curve never stops. You will always have something new to learn, something that you haven't thinking about before. And this is like always. And each year, your team is going to come stronger than the previous year. And you see that I put an asterisk in there. And why is that? Because this is actually this is going to happen only if your team have analyzed what happened from the previous year and learn from it. So documentation is very important. I am going to be saying that a lot, but it is very important. And well, sometimes you at least think you do everything right, everything you could do at that moment, but the result just doesn't come. And it's like just a loop. Then you have learned a lot from it. It's like the burn that Bruno said before. You hurts, but you learn from it, and you come back stronger. And then you might have another chance. If you don't, you're going to back even stronger. And that's it. So now another part that is very important, that's related to the team that we wanted to share you, is like creating and transferring knowledge. Because if you don't do that, the team is going to die, right? So in our team, each area has a textbook reference. That is very important. I can give you some examples. Like for suspension and chassis design, you use the race car from the Exude. From aerodynamics, we use the race car aerodynamics from CATS. For the engine, because we are a combustion engine team, we use the 4-stroke engines by Blair. That is very used in our team. You see the guys talking about this book a lot. And we also promote meetings for discussing the topics and for the newcomers to learn. That is very important, because when you start discussing it, you're starting to really understand the theory behind it. And people who already know created internal courses. And this is especially something that we do a lot in our team. For example, during the pandemic, we have done several courses that were recorded and documented in a folder, so the people can have access to it. So some examples are simulation, FIA simulation in the chassis, like basics of structural design, vehicle dynamics 101, aerodynamics basics. That is all important, so the people learn faster and is documented within the team. And not only the theory, but it's important to you improve your practical skills, because, well, you need to build your car. You need to make your hands dirty. You're going to build it. We are students that build car. So we do have some sponsorships who give courses to us, and we enjoy it. The left one is a welding course that our sponsorship gave to us. And the right one is a consulting in strain gauge. That is very important. We have a lot to learn from this area, but we are giving our first steps towards this. And yeah, that's it from my side. Now, my friend Eduardo is going to finish the team management and organization presentation, and then we're going to have a little stop, so we can have some questions and a little break for us to breathe, right? So, Eduardo.
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you, Pedro. Hello, as I said, I'm Eduardo, and here I'm going to talk a little about our project organization, like meetings, plans, alternative plans, and how we deal with failures. First, I will talk about our meetings. On Mondays, we do the lining up meeting. This is restricted to the captain, director, the heads of the subsystem, and the administrative managers. In there, we can discuss all of the things that happens in the previous week, the challenges and problems, and solve them. In this meeting, we connect all the people and all the team and all the team and organize them. We give them all the important information that we need and program the important things that we will talk about in the individual meeting on Wednesday. This meeting is very important because of the interaction of all the people and all the parts of the project. It is when they say the requirements and exchange information. The most important goal of this meeting is to put everyone and every area on the same wavelength and in the same way of thinking. Because if they do everything individually and without exchanging information to each other, the car will be a Frankenstein. The motor will not connect to the drivetrain, and the drivetrain will not connect to the suspension. Exchange information is the main purpose of the lining up meeting. And as I said before, when you do the lining up meeting, we talk about the main purpose of the individual meeting. So we have the individual meetings on Wednesday. The director makes this meeting with all the administrative subsystem, and me, the captain, organize the technical subsystem meeting. In this meeting, we discuss and set the things that the technical and administrative subsystem will do during the week. As Pedro mentioned before, we use the online software Basecamp to make to-do lists and organize everything. In this meeting, we can discuss more substantially the projects of each subsystem and organize to do the things at the right time. A little bit about our Basecamp organization is here in this slide. First, in the meeting, we list all the things that have been done in the previous week, take a feedback to the head of the subsystem or the manager, and documentate all of these things. Then, to organize the things that have to be done in the next week, we separate them in 4 groups. First, the important and urgent, so we have to execute it. Second, the not important and urgent, so we have to delegate it to our member. The third, the important and not urgent, so I have to plan it. And the last, the not important and not urgent, so I have to eliminate it because it just wastes our time. Also, it is in this meeting that we charge people if they are procrastinating some work. We ask them to work better. Filipe will go into this. We'll go into this with more details later in this meeting. Finally, we documentate all the things so that the next generations can benefit and don't make the same mistake that we did at that stage. This is something very important for all the teams because we are all improving our cars and the team. And if we don't documentate all of these things, the next generation will not know that improvement that we did. So the knowledge will be lost. Something that we don't want is to take our effort and knowledge in the trash. So we have to documentate and use tools to organize all of these documentations. How you can see, we use the Basecamp as a documentation tool, but another software can do this work too. Always documentate the things done in your car. For an example, as you can see here, we documentate the tire study, the structural projects, and the validations of our car.
It is it's like in Portuguese, guys, but because we actually speak Portuguese in our team, but it's like some examples of the documentation we do. So just to give some insights, sorry to cut you, Eduardo,
okay,
I thought it was important to mention. No, go on, sorry.
Okay, and all of these documentations makes a knowledge basis to the next generation and the next projects. And now, moreover about our meetings, every 2 weeks on Wednesday, we have the general meeting. That is for everyone at the team. In this meeting, we say all the things that are being done in the car, and we always make something to excite people with photos or videos of the members working, the car testing, or even calling former members to talk about their experience and journey at the team. It is in this meeting when we call everyone to come to the workshop and work together. Also, in the team, every week, all of the heads of the subsystem do their subsystem meeting to organize your team, train members, and give them responsibilities and things to do. In this meeting, just the heads of the subsystem and your members participate. Then all of the meetings are mandatory attendance to the people who are involved in them. The human resources manager is in charge to documentate all of the attendance of the meetings. To do all of these meetings due to the COVID-19, we use the online software Discord. That is a way to link all the people. There we can see if everyone is working and communicating to each other about the project. There too, we divide everyone in their position in the team, and there are rooms for every subsystem to facilitate our communication. Now, going into our management methodology, we have some agile development and methodology on our project. Our management methodology is an adaptation of the Scrum methodology. We make weekly sprints, so we organize all the things that have to be done in 1 week. And in the final of this week, we organize the things that to do at the next one. We make weekly to-dos and weekly sprints. After each sprint, we can review all the things done, take a feedback, and make some decisions for the next week. So if something goes wrong, or we have to modify something, we do it faster and in a more organized way. Because of this organization, if we do something wrong, it is a fast error. So there isn't time to make a problem in the team, so we can fix it quickly. One of the other advantages of the Scrum with weekly sprints is the people development in our team. Because when each sprint finishes, as I said, we can give a feedback to the head of the subsystem and make his work better. We will talk more about people development later in this meeting. And how I've said, the Agile methodology makes our error correction faster and easier. So here I'm going to talk about an example of this situation in our team. In 2021, we decided to modify the jacking point of our car to have a layer system. So we modified it. In our last car, it was a steel welded tube in the chassis. And now we use an aluminum jacking point fixed in the differential mounting. After some structural simulation, we made a topological optimization to eliminate some weight. And that here is the final geometry, that is 43% lighter than the older system. According to the team flow that Pedro introduced to us, after the product time, we started the manufacturing. A water jet cutting to the aluminum to have the geometry that we wanted was perfect and fast. So in the next week, we were with the jacking point completed and in the car. But there was something that we didn't expect and didn't assume at the structural simulation. The unexpected thing was that the jacking point was not perfectly aligned to the center of the car. And because of that, at the same week, we changed our focus to remake the simulation correctly and finally have some solutions. The final solution was a thermal treatment of aging the aluminum. This treatment was adequate to the strain that the part will receive. This correction process lasted us 2 weeks. It happened when the car was in the manufacturing time, as Pedro explained to us. I've told all of this story to illustrate how important the Agile process is. If we haven't applied this methodology, we would notice this problem some weeks later, and all of this process would retard all of the other projects, because when it would be noticed, it could be 2 testing weeks. So we would lose 2 important weeks just because we applied a standard methodology and not an Agile. In conclusion, we do weekly sprints in the Agile. The weekly sprints in the Agile methodology allow us to have a more adjustable schedule, and this allows us to fix the project errors faster, responsibly, and without retard another important moments like testing time. Another thing that is very clear in this case that I said is that we tolerate errors. After all, we are all students and we are here to learn new things. But if it happens, the leader of the project has to fix it. We give all the support and freedom to them. And now, using the Agile method, we can figure out the error faster and we have more time to fix it carefully. Here I finish my presentation. Thank you for your attention. Filipe will talk more about our team, and now we'll take a break and you can take some questions to us. use this QR code to go to our website and know a little bit about us. Can we start the break? And if someone wants to ask something to us, go on.
I think we are pretty much open to questions. Kathy?
Yes, I think for any participants who would like to ask any questions, please use the raise hand feature, just so that we know and we can call your name out and then you can unmute. Are there any questions from any? Okay, Pratyush, go ahead.
Yep. Hey guys, hello everyone.
Hey.
Okay, so my question is, how do you guys ensure productivity with a large team, especially in this COVID version? So how do you ensure what how have you divided your power between the team management in such a way that you are result driven and you ensure your productivity? So how do you go about your power division between the team management and the leadership roles?
May I answer this one, guys? It's okay?
Yes, you can. I complete if you lose something.
Thanks. So that is a very, very good question. I'm sorry, I want to pronounce your name, but I'm not sure if I'm going to correct it. Pratyush, can you?
Yeah, Pratyush, it's fine.
Pratyush. So that is a very good question, because when we are just outside the workshop, our productivity tends to decay a lot. And something that we seem to do, and it really helps, is like in the meetings, when you have the general meeting, as Eduardo said, bring ex-members, bring alumni, so they can share the experience, and the guys are like motivated to work, even if they are homes. And something that you can really refer to them is like, you have an opportunity. We are not in the workshop, but we can develop our simulation skills, our theory skills. We can always do something. I think I like to say that in Formula, we always have something to do. You like have huge lists in which there's always something to improve, whether it's in theory, whether it's in your workshop, in your building and manufacturing skills. And since our organization is like the captain, we have the captain and the director. And then below the captain, we have all the heads of the subsystem, like the people in charge of locally of each area. And the captain talks with the heads, and the heads talks with its members. So for example, there's the head of the suspension, and there's the suspension members, and the head of the suspension will talk with the suspension members. So it is the head that's going to motivate the members to work and to study, because they're actually the newers, and the captain will need to motivate the heads, so it all works. I think the essence is pretty much it. I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you. Yep.
All right, I think next, Sanyam, if you would like to go ahead.
Yeah. So as you said, how important is the documentation part of what's going on in the meetings and what new things you are learning? So who is responsible for doing that documentation part? Is it just one person, or is it one person from each department?
That is a very good question. Also, it's Sayan, your name. I'm sorry if I. Sayan. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sayan, for your question. It is a very good question. And actually, there's no rule for this. Generally, the heads, the people in charge of all the subsystem, do the documentation, because they have their responsibility in the end. So they are like the guys who are going to sit down and write and do the part chart, because let's say sometimes documentation is pretty boring. But you can also delegate for a member. For example, you are the head of I don't know, the aerodynamics, and you know there's a guy that works just fine for you. You can say, Jude, can you do this for me? I really need this documentation, but I have some other tasks to do. And then you have to see if you can trust on him. Formula is really about relationship, as we're going to see with Filipe. And then if you see that you can trust him, go on. We do that a lot in our team. But if you're not sure. Go on.
So if there is a different meetings that not all people are attending, suppose there's a meeting that only 3 persons are attending, and there's a different meeting who have different participants. So how do you correlate what's written in the documentation part then?
Sorry, I think I didn't understand the last part. It's like how the
So means not all the meetings have all the participants, all the team members in the meeting. So if there's 2 meetings with different participants, then if you write the documentation in the same format, or you have different people to write the different parts.
Yes, that's a very good question. So, for example, in then you see if I will answer your question. In our base camp, we have different windows. We have the suspension window, we have the aerodynamics window, we have the chassis window, and all of those different windows are connected to the bigger team that is our team, EESC-USP Formula SAE, and then we have all the other windows. And at each window, for example, when you click in the aerodynamics, you're going to see like all the documentation that is related to the aerodynamics. And you go to the suspension, you're going to see that. There's a lot of softwares that do that. Basecamp works really well for us. We really like that software, but I think we can maybe find a better one. I'm not sure about that, but did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Another thing about our documentation. Nowadays in 2021, we are trying to do last year and the other years ago. Every subsystem leader was used to do their documentation, but it was a little confusing. And nowadays we are trying to make a template of the documentation. So we have a template of all of the documentations, and the people in charge of the product just complete this template to be a more organized thing. And we have a Excel or Google Docs sheet with all of these documentations, so all of the team can see this documentation in a more organized way.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Sanyam. We'll go to Durvas.
Yes, Durvas here. My question is like which team bonding activities we can arrange for to engage all the members, also to maintain the work environment throughout the team, especially during pandemic situation.
It's like how we keep the team alive, Cassie.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's what he meant. Team bonding and team motivation.
It's Durvas, that's the pronouncer, sorry.
Yes, it's right, Durvas.
Durvas, thank you for your question, Durvas. Well, actually, during the this is a very good question. It's kind of similar than the previous question, but we did like some we encourage people, ex-members, to come to the meetings to encourage the people so they can share their experience, and the guys are like, let's go to work, we're going to do this, and the people really feels great when they hear from someone that has already been there. So it is, I think it's a good thing for you to put in presence in your team. And also you can like try to speak with your members and say, yes, we are in pandemic, we have a lot of issues, that's too bad, but we must keep going. Our team cannot stop. We are here to make it better. We're here to evolve, we're here to learn, and there's always something to do in Formula, as I said before. So I think you can try to motivate this by saying this, and try to, I don't know, lighting the spark that there is in their hearts, so they can start to work and feel very motivated. It is very complicated, but our team has been dealing with in this, like something like that. I'm not sure if it's like the best option, but it's something that we have been working on.
As we say, we live Formula. So yeah, if we don't do anything or stay without doing things to the Formula, what would we do? We wouldn't do nothing. So we have to do something in the Formula team, and do some documentation, take some parts of the product that isn't so good and make it better. And now in the COVID-19, we make all the projects and the documentation better. Like I said, the template documentation, the sheets of the documentation, all of these things waste lots of time that we don't have when we are in normal years. And now that we have some more time in the computer, more time to documentate, we can do it better, and we will benefit the other generations with this documentation, these templates, and all of these organizations. So we spend our time with organization and better projects.
I will talk more about this in my presentation, but not about the COVID, but the motivation. It's all I will talk about it. I hope so help you.
So my question was regarding the methodology used, the agile methodology and the standard methodology. So a methodology. So it was like that's unique and that's nice. So do you follow that for like every component being designed, or you just go with departmental wise? And how do you distinguish between if a component requires a standard methodology or an agile methodology?
This thing in our team is that we have a mix, because due to the organization of the team, we use the agile methodology. But there are some things that we have to there are some things that we have to use the standard methodology. Like when we are making the car and doing the things in the car, we have to think in a long time. So we use the traditional management things, because we have to plan all of the things, like when the motor will be in the car, when the suspension will be in the car. These things we have to plan in a long time. So the agile method doesn't fit in this case. And but in the organization of the team, in the motivation and the meetings, we use the agile method, because when we do the agile method, every week we can analyze what is happening in all of the team. Like as Pedro explained to us, the big picture. So when we do an agile methodology, we take a big picture of the team every week, so we can see if something is wrong, if someone didn't work as we wanted. We see that, and we can talk to them. So we just use the agile method to fix the problems earlier. So every week we analyze all the things that have been done in the week. So if something goes wrong, we can start analyzing it, and we can solve it faster. Because if we do a traditional methodology, we would notice if the motor have a problem when it would be in the car. So it would be weeks later, and all of these things. Because of that, we have to use this agile. I don't know if you understand, but it's a mix of the traditional for the car, because the things can't be done in 1 week. Like bell crank can't be done in 1 week. So we make a process. We make a process analysis, so we can see all of the things done in the week to organize the team. But the things done in the car is a long time, and you take the traditional management too. We make this mix.
Thank you,
Eduardo. Thank you, Om.
Can you see there?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So good afternoon. My name is Filipe Stecconi, and I'm the Principal Director of the EESC-USP Formula SAE team. So now I will present you about people management, team philosophy, way of working, and how important it is. So I will talk later about how we analyze and coordinate these factors, and how our team skills regenerate our results. So I will start by guiding this presentation based on values. The first thing you have to think is what is Scholars all about. When we enter college, we had the goal to become a professional engineer. But sometimes, for some people, it's not enough. They want to be the best, innovate and overcome themselves every day. For those people, exists the formula. So the first in values comes up, non-conformity. So, okay, I understand what scholars are about, but what is formula? Formula is the place where students live the sameness of the classroom. At school, we learn to study to get good grades, but we will make college the same thing as used to do at school. No, we need to apply what we learned in the books and in the classroom. We need to make mistakes. We need to beat our brains out. It's here in this competition that each team and each student has to overcome all difficulties, whether passional, technical, resource, or professional, to be champions. Here, if you have a problem, you solve it. But okay, I understand. I need to work, and what a great purpose, but why pain? No pain, no gain. We live a dream, and like any dream, it's never easy to make it come true. There will be storms during the trail, but in the formula, we keep in mind that competition has a date. We don't have time to be crying. Our project works in a cycle. The cycle is build, race, break, and repeat. If you run the cycle over and over and over again, you will find the biggest objective, the victory. If you understand the cycle, if you really know where and how you should go, our second values comes up, the tough mind. But so in this way, we have a formal way of life. Formula is much more than extra class activity. We always say that we do formula with emphasis on graduation. That's because we always learn here. Every day there's something to do in workshop. That's where the magics happen. Being there is essential because the reason for you to study and what you should learn is showing here. After all, we have a competition to win. In this way, we become a formula family. Formula is a place that turns co-workers into friends and turn sleepless night into great stories to be told. Together we have lunch, study, simulation, design, build, cry, and smile. With so much work comes a friendship and a family. We become the biggest support, but the biggest encourager of ourselves. Thus, our third values arise, the way of life. So talking about way of life, I will focus this part only hard work because the formula secret is about do. It's not about simulation, innovating, or designing. Formula is about get your hand dirty and make it happen. Formula is about make it happen. We are not ties company that stay behind the computer all the day. We are results teams. It's not enough for us to be a good at theory and not to do the practice. A good project is one that comes out of the paper. But how I can select these people? Here in your team, we believe that the best selection process is the practice. Every company focuses on selecting the best people, but everyone knows there no such thing. Therefore, we believe in a natural selection of beginners through work. We give them responsibility, autonomy, and above all, we give them pressure. So as Darwin says, the most adapted will resist and the rest will give up. So according to our way of working, our values, and our philosophy, we strongly believe in a merit. Thus, leaders, heads, and managers deserve this position, which must sacrifice. Thus, they serve as an example for all the team and generate or less value. Nothing replaces the work. So, okay, I understand the way of life, the focus and the work, and the big objective, the victory. So, but how? But how I can implement this on my team? Thus, I select 3 points. The first is motivation. It's up to the leaders to dictate the mentality of the team. In our speeches, not only what should be done we will be talking about, but why? Where do you want to go? Where are you going? We want to win everything. Skid pad, acceleration, cost, presentation. We are here to win all these events. But you are not going to be everywhere to say this. For that, you need a hard group. 7 to 10 people who think like you, who have the same strength and want the same goal. This will be everywhere carrying the strong mentality. So the second point is recognition. It's important that everyone be gratified and praised in the front of the team when they have a great posture. This will attract more people to do so and will trust you. And the last point is example. Be the example, be the culture, live in the workshop. Be the first to arrive and the last to leave. Always be available and willing to bleed a break or to train a presentation for the sponsor. This strength is contagious. Soon everyone will be living like this. So now I'll talk more technical things about how make a people management with human resource. So as Claude says, it's all about the people and really is. But just like a technical part, the management part needs indicator and measurement. And as writer Peter Drucker says, if you can measure it, you can manage it. Thus, here are some of main indicators. The first is presence control in the workshop in a meeting. Presence control in the workshop as is the biggest indicator because that's where the magic happens. That's where everything happens. Being there means giving up of any other type of distractions. It's mean learning. It's mean making mistakes and getting skill. And the most important, it's mean have an interest, the basic factor. So here you can see the way of we control the presence in your team. So the second indicator is audit goals. Before we plan our weekly goals and activities as presented by Pedro and Eduardo, we do an audit. As can see being here, we value on to do based on the criteria of importance and urgency. This is very important for us to know how the work level of each subsystem is. So the last indicators that I became for you is the performance analysis. Twice a year, we do a performance analysis to check at different factors of the heads, the members or beginners of each subsystems based on their needs. First, they fill in a table, just like you can see here, an evaluation 360 degrees. And after that, our human resource team analyze each one of them to give individual feedbacks, just like you can see here. Finally, we put everything in a comparative graphs to analyze the data and provide a basis for any promotion or team turnover. Here you can see that a member is outside of the lane of the team. Thus, our human resource will try to understand the reason and will solve it. So finally, I think the formula is about relationship. In this way, if you think in your team the biggest problem, talk about Pedro, is the ego. He talked about this. So with strong culture and a strong mindset and a hard work, sometimes problems relate to pride or feeling of superiority appear in the team. So this is poisonous for the team. This hidden innovation, good members are motivated, and the worst, it can break the team. For solve this, you need a member follow-up. It is extremely necessary that human resource are constantly talking to members, heads or beginners. Organizational climate surveys are very important to understand how people are feeling about their superior or their co-worker. From this monitoring, an attitude must be taken, always talking to the leader of human resource and the leadership of the team. But have you other way to solve these conflicts? The barbecue and integrating events. Like an engine, the team needs an escape. For that, nothing better than meat and a good beer. In these moments, nothing more than formula can be talked about. It's here that director and beginner talk without any distraction. They are all dreamy friends with their common purpose. Most of the conflicts are solved with a good conversation and a hug. Thus, the feeling of family and the identity of the team only grow from these events. So sometimes some conflicts, whether passionate or technical, it's not easy to solve and hinder the team progress. At that moment, it is extremely necessary for the leadership to intervene. Formula is a democratic place. Everyone must be heard, considered regardless of their position. Finally, it's up to the leader, after listening to everyone, to take a quick and definitive posture. Leadership is sometimes make a difficult decision on behalf of the team. This formula is work of people. Don't focus on making the best car. Focus on making the best team. The best team makes the best car. Thank you. So thank you for your attention and opportunity. And now I will move on to Victoria Gouveia, our marketing manager. She will talk a lot about the import of partnership and sponsors to keep the team alive. So thank you very much. Is this?
I had a question regarding the team meetings. So, how do you keep the team meetings on track and not, let the topic of the agenda of the meeting change? Like, how do you keep the discussion on track with the main topic?
I see. Do you understand, Eduardo?
How do we stay with the main topic of the?
Yes.
Okay, I can answer it. It's a very good question, Abishi. Okay. First in the meeting to make it organized and to do not exchange the subjects of the meeting. We do always in the meeting we do like we are doing here, presentation. We have the presentation with the things that we have to do.
Like the topics.
We make a slides with the topics that we have to discuss, and me and Filipe, who are who are doing the meeting, who are the principal person in the meeting. We coordinate it. If someone is going out of the subject or talking about something that have not to be talked in that meeting, we just cut him and say no, that is not. We can't discuss it now. We can discuss later. And in this hour we do another meeting with just the people and talk the different things. So we have all the topics of the meeting before the meeting, and we coordinate these people. Other thing that I can say is that we prefer doing short meetings in our team. Nowadays in our team we have a little rule that is not to make meetings with more than 1 hour. So the limit is 1 hour. If the meeting go more than 1 hour, this meeting will not be good. We will start to say things that we don't want. The people, we are not paying attention on us anymore. So 1 hour is the bigger meeting that we have. And if there are some conflict or some problem or some subject that we have to talk about, and we don't have time to do it, we make another meeting just with the peoples that we want and just the peoples who are involved in them. Because if there are a problem with the chassis and there is a discussion with the chassis and the suspension head, they will not use the lining up meeting time to discuss it. They are going to go to the Discord in their class, in their, how can I say,
those rooms.
In those rooms, and discuss this alone, and they can discuss it a lot of time because they are not using the important meeting to do it. So the three things that we do: we make the topics on a slide or in a presentation to organize us. We cut the people who are going out of these subjects, and we do another meeting just with the people who needs to discuss this specific topic. This is the principal thing that the most important things that we do.
Just a quick comment, but you see, Abhishek, that sometimes formula is so stressful and it's so hard and it's so like everyone is so overwhelmed that sometimes you can use like a little joke in the meeting. I think it's like, okay, I once remember that Claude said that vehicle dynamics in the AVD course, a famous Optimum course, they say that vehicle dynamics can be difficult and sometimes you have to do some jokes just to break things up. So it's important that too.
If I could add one in just to complement Eduardo's question. So at Formula Bharat, we also deal with volunteers, right? And we keep our meetings at 1 hour. So an agenda is created before that. against each line of the agenda, we put how much time we're going to spend on talking about that. And then we have someone who takes the meeting minutes and someone who checks the time. So the time checker also says, hey, we've passed 5 minutes right now. Let's move on to the next one. We'll come back to this topic later, and the people will discuss that. So it helps keep on time. And Eduardo is right. Anything above an hour, you just lost the interest of the entire team. So try to keep your main team meetings like within 1 hour. More than that is just, too long. Go ahead, Somesh.
Hello, guys. My name is Somesh.
Hello.
And first of all, thank you very much for organizing this wonderful session. I have basically 2 questions to ask. First is that most of the times it happens in the team that 2 senior members have conflicts on a particular subject or on some topics, and that is a result for some nuisance. So how can we deal with the conflicts in a peaceful manner? And the second question is that how to carry forward a team in which the majority of members are beginners and they practically don't have any experience in formula making. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your question. That is both 2 excellent questions. Do you like to answer the first one, Filipe, that is related to your how to measure conflicts? Yeah.
Okay. The conflicts is a problem, but we keep in mind that the conversation is the better way to resolve the problems. So we talk to the both parts, and we always here we have an objective. So some part we have the accept the other part. So in this way, we try to understand the other part, the other problems. So I think that the team is very understand the others. So Pedro.
Yeah, I think in the I don't know if you remember so much, but I really focus on the collective words like team, we, and in the end we want the best for the team, even if the guy, if someone has an X opinion and the other one has an Y opinion. So in the end, you will both need to be like step out, and we are going to have, man, we are want the best for the team. We need to have a consensus. So let's talk like real gentlemen and try to figure this out. And I think if it's not like that, it will be complicated because the team will be like divided. And the best way would be to have this consensus. And regarding,
sorry, just completing this part, when there are some conflicts with the people, we make some meeting with the people who are conflicting ideas, and someone up in the team, someone that have more power than them. Like if the heads of the subsystem, one have one idea and the other have another idea, me, the captain, will participate of this meeting to adjust the ideas, and me, the captain, have the more powerful idea. So I will decide it. So to not make this problem of one person say something and then another say other thing, and they start discussing. My job is to take the right decision because I have more experience, I have more power in the team. So I will manage these ideas and go to the better one and say to them, this is the better one because of this. But that's not
like definitive. Yes,
that's not definitive. I will say the things that are better, the things that are not so good, and we all will discuss and take the final decision. But I have a little bit more force in these ideas.
Yeah, and regarding your second question, well, if you do have beginners in your team more than experienced people, you will have some difficulties that you need to accept that, and you have to like find a way to deal with this because you're not going to give up. There's not an option. So I think you can like go to Alumnus. You can always ask for former members. If your team doesn't have former members, go to other teams. You can ask us, you can ask all other Indian teams, because I think in the end, people like to help. People like to share their experience, and maybe the other people can use this, and you see that they're starting to grow, and you see, oh, nice, I help them. And I think you can always find for help, either is team. You can always ask for your teachers too. In our university, we have like a complicated relationship with our teachers, but some of them will try to help. But I think those might be some alternatives. I think you can try to see if this works. But this would be my suggestion, I guess.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your question, Somesh. So Pedro, Eduardo, Filipe, Victoria, we're going to take one more question from Hari Krishna. For the others, Suyash, Jenish, and two Suyashes are there. Just put your hands raised up only, and we'll cover it in like towards the after Victoria's part. So let's do Hari Krishna, and then we'll have a 2-minute break.
Okay, sounds good.
Hey guys.
Hari Krishna. Yeah.
Yes, am I audible?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine, and you?
Actually, I would like to ask 2 questions regarding the beginners. The main problem is that they are. I think it was earlier stated by Pedro or Filipe. It was like they are treating this formula events as an extracurricular activity. So they are not even correlating the academics to the actual car. So they were like totally differentiating them. And the another question is that regarding temporary motivation. So I think you could exactly answer regarding that statement, temporary motivation. So those guys are getting temporarily motivated. So how could you think we could overcome this problem?
Thank you so much for your question, Hari Krishna. I don't know if I got the second one, Kathy, because I think the connection went a little buggy. Do you understand his second question?
Did you, Hari Krishna, was it about team motivation, like temporary team members who are motivated temporarily,
Yes,
and then after that they're not motivated?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, starting with the second one, I think it's sometimes it's happened like the guy is really motivated, and then some time passes, and then he's not doing the job. He's like away from the team. That is very regularly. But I think you started to see now the importance of a HR. When I joined the team, there wasn't a proper HR. I'm going to tell you the truth. The HR was like inexistent, and we did have a lot of problems like this one. But with the years, we developed a strong HR in which the team relies on it. So if something happens, and if you have like some members that is away, we're going to try to have a meeting with him, try to see what is happening, because sometimes he's facing like family issues or any kind of issues. And we need to give him a time. You need to respect his decision, and then we try to do some decision. But I think it's very important for the team to doesn't mix things. Like maybe he's having a personal problem, but it's not really to the team itself. And you need to like be strong on this one. Try to help him. But if maybe the guy just didn't like the team, well, maybe he wasn't the right fit. And then I'm sure you'll find the people that really fit in your team. So I wouldn't worry about that.
A little bit about the motivation. The main motivation that you have is the hard work, because when we see other people of the team, our colleagues or our people of the team doing the things and working very hard and doing the things all the time, making the products better and all of this, when everyone is working hard and doing the things right, we become more motivated, and we want to do this hard work too. So if we have, as Filipe said, a good team, a team that do the hard work and do everything at the right time, all of the other parts of the team and all of the other members will follow this group, and the team will be very hard work, and the team will be very good. This is the main purpose of our motivation: the hard work and a good group who work very hard.
Great. Hare Krishna, I hope both your answers, or both your questions were answered.
The first one was not actually. It was about how we link like the team with the academical part in the university.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that is actually a very good question, in which our team does not do it very well, because our teachers, maybe they see they don't see us with such a good eyes, because maybe they feel like we are threatened to the researchers, but we are actually turning this out, because we are creating a department in our team that is like research and development, in which we are going to have a teacher, and we're going to write some papers using formula data and using things related to formula and the teachers. And then in the papers there will be the name of the university, and so our name is related to the researchers, and they won't have to argue with that. And we have our teacher, our faculty advisor, which is not so much present in the team as we see like in the Monash. We like do it on our own, but he is like helping us a lot in this process, and he does really help us with the bureaucratic part. So it is something that we are working on, and we're taking this approach of research and writing papers, so our name and the university is more related, and we can have a better relationship with them. I think that's pretty much it.
I am the Victoria, and I will talk about sponsorship. Just like the sponsorship of conventional companies, they are an important part for the whole company of the Formulas project. Through it will develop all the visual identity of the team, disclose what is being done by us, organize events, and due to the high cost of the project, we look for alternatives to acquire resources to huge among them. There are skills in prospecting supportive companies. Today, we have managed to convert companies by two main methods: inbound and outbound. Inbound is the technique for passive prospecting possible partner companies. That is, companies know or discover our team through engagement in the digital environment, for example, on Instagram, website, or LinkedIn. And after that, we will use a strategy to collect information. Your contacts favoring our networking in order to be able to convert them into partner. Moreover, outbound is the action of actively prospect. That is, we will definitely exactly the object and convert it into a partner according to our needs. An example, when Formula was the departure of our team at the mechanical workshop in São Paulo 2 years ago. There we managed to introduce our team to several companies in the industry and college a lot of contacts that after a few meetings became our partner. In Brazil, access to college is very restricted, and so a larger part of the population doesn't have or has never had contact with the college environment will hire inserted in. Favorite distance between society and college, which reduce as visibility to the external environment, making it even more difficult for us contact with a possibility supporter. This whole scenario causes our team to face a new challenge on the time when truck to convert and convince new sponsors. In our first contact with possible supporters, we initially sought to hold brief meetings present our project the importance of support a formal team and the sponsorship plan. In the sponsorship plan, we will show how we will help our support to grow together with us. We offer the advertise in our social networks. Logging the church we use in the competition, logging the car, participation of the team in company events, and make a bond between the company with our universe, which is the largest company center in the country, and has a highly qualified workforce. Our success in due to the team culture is extremely focused on hard work and innovation. It is also important to say that it is not and isn't process. All of our learning comes through the analysis of our past mistake. Not every company will be able or really to support. So the secret is to doing over and over again.
Yeah, in general, people, the companies like a lot, right, Vicky? Formula students, they are enthusiastic they see like a student project that builds a car. They are like, oh, that's like very nice. But you also see some people that are really not interested. So we need to really keep ourselves down to really try to get something from them, right, Vicky?
We improve what is world goal, investing a lot in negotiation and working on new ideas. Think about it. We'll credit the affiliation project. We'll know that is a crisis situation. The market area is the first to be cut by companies and with the adversity of the pandemic. To sell how on our sponsoring companies canceled the partnership. So we had the innovate and the credit another way to raise money, and that's when we credited our membership system. It is a way of getting closer to family members, people who likes formula, people with to the universe and the former's member. For a better relationship, better the team and the universe, environment, and society as a whole, with mutual exchange of bad feelings. Affiliation gives us a monthly amount of money according to the plan chosen by them, and in return, in addition to collaboration with the development of national engineer and getting closer to the team. They receive our newsletter quarterly, where you update on the progress of our project, our raising workshop, membership card, exclusive seat, the discount cap, and the other exclusive gifts that vary with the chosen plan. So we'll finish our presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Victoria.
Some general comment about this. It's actually very, very important that we really look for sponsorships, because sometimes we won't have the money like to buy everything that is in our financial plan, and we need to like have some like parts that can be really accessible by some sponsorships. So we need really to try to find some way to get in contact with them, and so they like us and they say that this products, because this car is very expensive, at least in Brazil. It is quite expensive to build, but yeah, anyways, let's keep on with the questions.
All right, we'll go with Suyash H. I apologize.
Yeah, thank you. And hi guys, I'm Suyash from Modified Auto Club Racing. And I had two questions actually. First one was regarding the sponsorships, and the second regarding team management. So regarding sponsorship, I had to ask that when we start the campaigns, there are two ways to go with it. Right. The first one is you target the companies and you send mails, like you have a list that you have to contact, a list of companies that you have to contact. And the second one is that you send emails to all the you know all the companies that you feel that may give us some money. So these are the two types of campaigns, if I'm not wrong. And so which one of these two you use, and which one of these is more workable, more reliable?
Thank you. Suyash is your name? Sorry if I mispronounced it.
Yeah, Suyash.
Suyash. So I think both methods are like complementary with each other, because like the passive one, like the inbound that Vitor said to us, is like, so they know that we exist, they know that we do like decent job, and they can refer to those resources to know about us. But the later one that you talked about is a more important, like contacting the company, sending the emails, and try to make the difference. Because you need to think what I represent for a company like this. For example, SKF, the one that bearings. We did have a very good job with them, in which we won several bearings we use in the car. And we need to know what is what makes us different from the others, what our team will like sum to this company, so they can rely on us, and we're going to give they're going to give the products for us, in which we're going to use it, and we're going to like establish a partnership. So you need to start to ask this question. Asking questions is like the best way to get the answers. It's like the way in which you can see how you're going to do it, because and this I actually can't give you a right answer for you, because your team, only you will know about our team. I know about my team, about our team, and I can say some things that make us different, but I think it's like you have to analyze, you have to be creative, see how you're going to make it a difference. And then you start shooting emails, and then you start to contacting the guys. And if you say no, doesn't give up. Pelé, the greatest football that is Brazilian, received several no's before he joins professional in soccer. So you have to have a tough mind, as Filipe said. I hope this answers your question.
Yeah, that was very helpful. And the second question I had was regarding juniors or freshers in the team. Like we all know that juniors or freshers don't work to their 100% capacity until they have a spark inside them, right? For the project, like this is my project and I have to work on it. If they don't have that spark in them, they don't work, or they don't give their 100%. So what can we do to raise that spark or get them inspired, so that they will work on the project as if the project is their own?
I think that is a very, very good question. This is very related to like dealing with people, which is a very delicate topic, because you have to be very sensitive, because people are all different. But I think one of the ways is you to showing that you are giving it responsibility, like demonstrate to it that you are giving him or her an opportunity in which it is important that you're going to establish a relationship of trust, and it's going to be evaluated within that. And you need to have these risks. Like Claude said to me once, you can't make omelets without breaking the eggs. You need to take risks. You need to give it a shot for it. So I think it's like purely this question that you ask is like a purely people relationship that you're going to have to to establish a connection. And this is very personal and can vary a lot from people. But I think one of the great methods is like demonstrating that you're giving him or her responsibility, and that you're relying on her on him or her, so you can like extract the most from him. I remember my former boss, Filipe Finco, if he's watching, best regards for you, man. He like pushed me all the way, and I really learned a lot from it. And it's really good that you be pushing yourself to the limit and finding where your limits are, and then you're starting to work and you see like you're helping the team and you start to get excited. So I think that's pretty much it.
All right. Thanks for your question.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Pedro. We'll move on to Jenish, and then after that to Janvi. So Jenish, are you there? He was just here. Okay.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Jenish.
Yeah, so my question is that what are the basic things that we should keep in mind while recruiting the new students? Because as Filipe suggested, that we cannot expect all the freshers to be excellent or at their best in their first year. So there might be few students who may have such capabilities, like they may be knowing the CAD very properly, or they may be having the communication skills very good. Their communication skills might be very good. So to find out such people, or maybe very few people who has this best quality in them, what should we keep in mind while recruiting, while conducting this recruitment procedure?
Sorry, I can see you. Even your name didn't appear. Do you want to answer this one, Filipe?
No. Can you respond to this?
So that is a very good question. It's like how we can recruit the best people. As Filipe said, there is no such thing like the best people, and especially students, because you're not like, you can't be very selective, because it's not like you're paying them so you can have your results. So you need to work with the best. That's why Formula is so cool, because it's so challenging. You need to make the best with what you have. And I think one of the ways to capture the people is see if the people is really committed, because we know that Formula is such a big challenge. And you can see by if you ask the guy some questions, and you start to see if he's going to be really committed to the project, or if he's like just want to have some fun, or he's doesn't sure of what he wants. And I think if you try to formulate the right questions, so you can try to see what is the objective of this person joining Formula is, you can start to see how much he's going to be committed to the project. And it also varies with team philosophy, because our philosophy is to work really hard. Maybe it's not like the best, but it's like we proceed. So if we know that the guy is not committed, it's not, he say, I just want to come to the workshop once a week. Well, you can do Formula going to the workshop once a week. I'm sorry, but it's not going to work. And I think by asking some questions and try to see what is the objective, and see if the objective of this guy is connected to the objective of your team somehow, I think it's a good match, and then you have a good potential member. Otherwise, you should be looking again. I think that is it. Am I answering your question?
Yeah, you did. Thanks a lot.
Great. We'll move on to Janvi. She's been waiting patiently from the first presentation itself.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to ask that we talked about in this pandemic situation, we all are carrying out our designing phase over the simulations and softwares, and someone discussed that we should focus on the departmental, the subsystem productivity, right? So what are your views on having a common software for each subsystem, or someone should be allowed to select his or her software according to their convenience?
Thank you for your question, Kathy. Just to make sure I understand, it's like a software that is related to team management or design of the car?
Design, right?
Yes, related to design. If I am using MATLAB, should I force others to use MATLAB, or they should select their software according to their convenience?
I see, I see. So yeah, software is very important in designing our cars. I think one of the most important software that you're going to have to face is like a CAD drawing. So you need to have a software so you develop your drawings and do your assemblies and so on. You need to have like a fair analysis software, finite element analysis software in which you can see like the structural design. It's not mandatory, but it's good that you have that. So there's like Abacus, ANSYS, there's a lot of them. Also, we use Creo. Now we're like using the Solid Edge. We have a new partnership with the Siemens guy, and we're going to move to the Solid Edge, but any software should work. And you should have one for vehicle dynamics. You should use Optimundi software. No, just kidding. If you go through MATLAB, you can like develop your equations and try to see if this makes sense. You need to do a lot of sanity checks to see if you can rely on this tool. But MATLAB is good for doing some analysis, and I think it would help for the members to really understand what is going on. And related to design properly, I think you maybe the main tools would be like, I would say, the drawing, so you can see all the sketches and see how it works, and a tool to ensure structural design and some vehicle dynamic simulation. And related to design, I think that's pretty much it. I don't know if I'm missing something. I feel like I missed something, by the way, but do you have something to complement, guys?
I think that are the main softwares that you need to use. The other softwares are just to simulate a specific thing, like the motor or the transmission or all the car. But the main softwares are the drawing and the FEA, finite element analysis.
And my another question is related to sponsors. So should we go for the sponsors which are related to motorsports and automobile only, or should we approach other sponsors too for some mutual benefits?
That's a very good question. I see you're shaking your head, Kathy. Do you want to add something?
Yeah, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And you can, I mean, I've told this to teams a couple of times, try going local, try going through local networks, through contacts. You might be surprised. There are people who enjoy racing. They are passionate about it. They couldn't do it, but they see their passion through you, and they would be ready to sponsor you. I mean, it's all about just asking people and just telling them about your project. So don't restrict yourself to just one industry or two industries. Figure out what makes people want to give you money. For some, it might be living through your passion. For some, it might be they really want to support youth who build race cars or car projects. For some, it might be for the exposure, because you're a college team, you have access to your faculty, to all your team members. So find out what drives that person to fund, right? And that's usually, I would say, how to go with it. Don't restrict yourself. And even I'd say to all teams, don't restrict yourself to corporates only. Try going local. You'd be surprised. There are some teams out here who are doing really well, who didn't have a single penny many years ago. And I'm talking about Indian teams who then reached out to family members, contacts, found out people who run businesses and were willing to give them, money. And now that sponsorship has only increased over the years. So yeah, I hope that. Sorry, Pedro, I took over your.
No, yes, I think that's what Kat's saying. I think it's pretty much it. You shouldn't go for the big dogs. You should search for the local ones who can really make a difference in you. If you go like I don't know, there's for example, I'll give you an example. We changed the tires, our project, to go to the lower one, the Hoosier lower one, which is very cute, by the way. But then we had a guy that did the he joined like the tire into our wheel. There was a guy which did that for us. And then for this new tire, it didn't work. And then we had to look for a new alternative so we can find someone who does that for you. And you'll be surprised about how much people that you can find out there going into your city that can have the tools that can help you. And by making the right conversation with you, I'm sure that he will be willing to help, because people tend to like students. You say that you build a race car, and you are students, they are going to say, "Oh, that's awesome." So I think you should look, trying to find the locals.
Thank you.
Yeah. Pedro, I just wanted to ask you, can we take 5 more minutes for questions? And if Claude wanted to say a few words, we could probably get that in.
Yes, I wanted to hear from Claude. We actually wanted to have a longer Q&A section, but things just get long.
More than 2 hours. I'll try to get in touch with Claude. In the meanwhile, let's move on. We'll take a question from Mihir, Abdul, and Danish, and then we can start with Claude. So, Mihir.
Yeah. Hi. So I wanted to ask questions about the team management. If someone from the team misses the assigned deadline, what steps do you take?
It's like there's there is a lot of noise. I'm not sure.
So he said, sorry, whose mic is that? Okay, it was someone else. So his question was, if someone on the team misses a deadline, how do you work with that?
Yeah, that's a very good question also, how we deal with this. I think there's not you should do this. It's very flexible, because we are again dealing with people, and dealing with people is so complicated, and so it can vary from people to people. But I think, at least from my point of view, and I think like if the guy missed one deadline and it's like a big project, you should like be aware. You should like say to him, "Oh, why you couldn't do that? What happened? You can't repeat this, because unless I won't be able to trust you, and we won't have a relationship trust. So it's kind of problematic. But if it's like a very newcomer, it's like a new, very not so important project, I think you should try to talk to him, try to motivate it, because maybe he's not just understanding what the formula is all about, or he's like just trying to he missed the point, or he didn't understand properly, or he was too shy to ask. So there's many things that might be related to this. And I think you should first evaluate, well, this is an important project, or this is not so important that I'm just trying to make a project for him to learn. And then you can evaluate better what your decisions are going to be. And if it's like a big one, a big mess up, you instead of like yelling, I'm not a fan of yelling. I mean, you should say like, man, you fucked up. You couldn't do that, because this will be so much worse than like yelling, that the guy will feel in his heart and he's not going to be able to sleep. And this is actually like the burn that Bruno said in the beginning. You're going to feel that so hard that you're not going to let it go, and you have learned so much from it. So I think that's basically that's how our team proceeded. I think.
Just completing here, we use some strategies to make to make people to not procrastinate, and do not make the work procrastinated. When we do the to-do lists, we try to make the more simple things that we have to do. Like an example, we have to organize the workshop. So first we have to organize all of the desks. We have to organize the car. We have to organize all of the bathroom. We need to start with small things. So when you do the to-do list and we do a lot of small things, the person that is working on these to-dos, they will know that it is important, and they can do it better and without procrastinate and without being late with that work. So, a strategy to make it better and make people do the things that have to do in the right time is to facilitate and make to-do lists with easy works, because and a lot of easy works makes a hard work. So you can make a lot of small things to make a large thing, and this helps a lot to people not be lost in the things, because if we make a to-do that is a big thing, the bigger part, the most part of the people will be lost in the things that they have to do, and they in the final day they will not know what to do. So if we do small things and small to-dos, the person can focus better in what they have to do and do the small things, and finally do all the work that we need.
And just to complement and give you the complete answer, sorry, his name just got out of the screen. Mihir. Sorry. So you have to be aware of the guy who are making excuses, because this happens a lot in Formula. I mean, you say, oh, you have to do this for next week, and then next week comes, and then he says, oh man, I had a exam, I couldn't do it. You know, you can't accept this kind of thing, because you have told that he need to do that 1 week before, so he had time to plan and see if it works. And if he's not if he's doing this constantly, saying not delivering the results, well, he's not interested. So there's no point in keeping him. We are kind of bad in this way. But I think you should be like that, because we're not here to play. We're not here to have laughs. That's also part of the job, as Filipe told. But we are here to win. We are like want to be serious. We want to be professionals. So that's important too.
Cool.
All right. So, Katie, I have one more question. If it's all right.
If we can just, why don't we, since Claude is on, just we'll have that, and then perhaps we can take in a few more questions, and then, is that okay, Mihir? As we've gone around more than 2 hours. Yeah, thanks. Claude, would you like to go ahead?
Yes. Good evening in India. Good morning in Brazil. I have a little bit of an ego problem here, to be honest with you, because until this morning, I thought I was a good presenter and a good motivational speaker. And then this guy from Brazil came along. So I'm impressed. I'm impressed by the enthusiasm. It's all about emotion, and they translate that very well. You know, for the people who are race fan, Brazil is the country of Ayrton Senna. I have had the luck to travel to Brazil very often, and despite, you know, the people are not running on gold over there, you walk in the street and you rarely see a BMW or something like that. The people, they are not running on gold, I guarantee you, but they smile all the time. They have a lot of, I don't know, you travel in different countries. First of all, they are very proud of their country. They carry a Brazilian flag everywhere, and they are singing. It's unbelievable. And Formula SAE Brazil is like that also. And that translated in this presentation. It's literally from the heart, and I appreciate that. Being a little bit more technical, let me ask a simple question. Eduardo, if you can unmute, because I have a question for you. I actually have a question for each of you. When will you be graduating, Eduardo?
I'll be graduating 2020, the final of 2022.
Okay. Okay. And Filipe?
Me too.
Okay. And Pedro, I know you graduate normally in December 2022. Yeah. And about Victoria?
Victoria, I think later. She's a freshwoman.
Okay. So the reason why I asked this question is that majority of the follower in this presentation are from India. And what I've noticed is that there is a little bit too much of hierarchy between, the senior and the junior and so on. As I keep saying, if the guy is good, he could be 18 or 19 years old, you never know. He could be a father who is an engineer. The father may have a workshop. The guy has hands-on skills in metal cutting, machining, welding. Maybe he has played with CFD software when the guy was 16 or 17 years old. You have that. If the guy is good, put him in charge. It's not the advancement must be on skill and talent and motivation, not only on seniority. And it's interesting that you have here 3 out of the 4 guys who are going to graduate in a little bit less than 2 years. And you have Victoria in charge of the marketing, who is going to graduate even later. And these people are definitely they took ownership of their progress and in the team. And that's one of the things that I would like my Indian friends to learn from, which is the importance of not making it too, I don't know to say that, too much concentrate on seniority, let's say it this way. If the guy has skills and motivation, give him responsibility. That's one thing. Otherwise, I think the presentation that I've seen is very close to perfect. I mean, I keep saying it's people, then the machine, it's people, then the money. Look, let's speak about money for a minute. I need to make 2 comments about money. Does Mercedes win in Formula One because they have money? Or do they have money because they are winning? And the same in Formula Student Team. I mean, it's people who are bringing the money. It's the marketing guys who are making glossy brochure, who are able to connect with people. And if Mercedes Formula One wouldn't win races, I have to tell you, after a while, the sponsors are going to leave, and the board of directors of Mercedes said, we are wasting money here. So it's people who are bringing money. That's the one. The second one is that I want to relate to you a conversation that I had a few years ago with the faculty advisor of UAS-GRAS. So UAS-GRAS is very well sponsored. I mean, you cross the street, you are at AVL, which is a big company, and they have Red Bull as a sponsor and so on. And that's not only the money, it's that they have a lot of parts which are machine free of charge and so on. And then, in the paddock, you have a little bit of jealousy about these teams who seems to be very well funded and so on. And I had a conversation with the faculty advisor. I think I had that conversation 3 years ago. He said, how can we compete with people like you? And he said, Claude, the team is 20 years old. When we started our team, we were 12 people and our budget was 9,000 euro, which is today about $10,000. And now they have 80 people. I mean, if you go to their website, you're going to see that they are looking for a specialist in differential equation to simulate a 7-post rig. They have 80 people and they have very, very good budget, but they deserved it. You need to start from somewhere. And don't be discouraged. It's a long process to gain stability in your team, to give self-confidence. It just takes time. But I have little to say, because that presentation was, my goal was to have students speaking to students, and that's what really happened. And I want to thank Cathy for organizing that, and I want the guys from Brazil there to create their own very good PowerPoint presentation and able to answer Q&A. And I think it's up to you, Cathy, how you want to do. If people have questions for me, that's fine, but I think the question should be addressed to the people there in Brazil more than to me.
Sure. I think we'll go ahead with those who have raised their hands, and we'll end at Pranay so that we can end this session as well, because we have exceeded time as well. And I'm sure our presenters are also exhausted. So we can do that. Is that okay with you, Claude?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, no problem.
All right. So team, are you guys okay with it?
Yes, of course.
Abdul Rahman?
Hi team, my name is Abdul Rahman. I'm a part of Hyperion Racing team from Mumbai. First of all, I'd like to thank you guys. The entire session was great. We learned a lot through these 2 hours, and kudos to you guys for that. My question is pretty basic. Currently, we all are going through a pandemic situation, and we being a bit of an average team, we are facing certain financial problems because we didn't get to participate in a physical contest. Everything was online, and our sponsors and along with the fundraisers, we didn't get to connect with them a lot. So being a superior team or being an established team, what tips you guys will like to give us so we can maintain our finances properly, and any tips that you guys are following yourself to sustain yourself in these situations? That would really help.
Thank you, Abdul, for your question. That is essential to this times. I can say you that we have gone through this a lot, and actually I'm kind of proud to say that. But we actually could increase our finances during the pandemic time, and wow, how we did that? That's crazy. But yeah, we actually since we were not essentially manufacturing the car during the 2020, we have invested a lot in the foundations of marketing. So we prepared templates, we studied in-depth marketing theory. We try to see which are the essential sponsorships that we might have that would help a lot in building our car and so on. And by starting to drawing the bigger picture of how we want to go on with this, we kind of have a good plan. And then we started to stick to it. And then we spent a very few money with buying parts, because we actually were receiving from other companies that was going to send to us, and we developed a good plan. So our money we use for emergencies, our real money, and the parts that the car needs we receive from the companies. So I would advise you to sit with your team and have a real good conversation. A long conversation is going to be a very good brainstorm. You better prepare the coffees. I don't know if you drink coffee in India, but you're starting to draw the plan, draw the bigger picture, try to figure it out. And well, yeah, you can see how it goes. This sounds good. I answered your question.
Yeah, Pedro, thank you so much. And along with that, one more thing, would you guys recommend that team members should also contribute a lot in the team funds, as you can say, when the time comes in, when there are critical times?
Yeah, I think I'm with Cathy. I don't agree with that. You can.
So Abdul, I know this is a very common situation around India, and I had a lot of one-on-one sessions last month with a lot of teams, and I was surprised to know that there are teams that have team members that contribute close to 40,000 over the course of their 4 years. I was totally blown away. But I guess hard times do come. But as I was telling Janvi earlier, it's we often, I'll give you a situation over here. How often do you talk about your project at home? How often do you tell your parents about what you really do? Because most of the time you don't, because you're like, they won't understand. Or you go to a family party and they're like, beta, you're the one in Formula One, right? And then you're like, and then after that you're like, no, it's not Formula One, it's Formula Student. And then you're like, okay, I don't want to deal with this ignorant conversation anymore. But
Yeah.
the truth is, like, they need to know what you're doing because they clearly remember something about you. So you talk to them about your project, and then you say, you know what, we've been trying to raise funds and we're trying to get sponsors. Do you know anyone in your contacts who would be interested? You'd be surprised. Some people fine will say, no, I don't know anyone, but they will remember. They will remember because you asked them. And if they ever come back by a contact, they will always say, hey, you know what, I know someone, they're looking for sponsorship, you're in their field, would you be interested? As I was saying, there are so many teams, and because we live in India, which is such a social country, you probably go to like 100 weddings in a year pre-COVID. That's your time to start selling what you do on your team. And it's funny because I learned this after I graduated, and I known this, I was always going for corporate. So I think it's so I understand that when you first start, you kind of ask each team member to pitch in. Sometimes that's important because everyone starts somewhere. You fund in donations, you fund crowdfunding. But when you, after that 1 year phase, I think you now have your budget. You know how much it takes to build a car, how much it takes to go to a competition. You put your budget together. In the beginning of your budget, you put some amount aside for how much you want to crowdfund, how much you want to, like, maybe each team member, they go out, they ask people to donate whatnot, and each have a raise. And then the other one, you have let's say you're trying to raise 1.25 lakhs in sponsorship. And that's when you're like, okay, I have that amount. I'm going to make sure that each team member on my team goes home, goes to that next wedding, goes to that next party, goes and talks about their project and tries to get contacts and keep following up on those contacts. I can tell you that for my first competition, which was Formula North, we had this was in 2011, and I started the project in 2010. And I thought, wow, we're going to have a formula competition in Canada for the first time ever, and people are going to throw money at me left, right, and center. Guess what? Nobody did. I got 120 rejections. I had to pay out of my own pocket for the first year competition, which I eventually got back over the years. But everyone starts somewhere in their first year, and just because your first year didn't go well doesn't mean that every year is going to go bad as well. You just need to be persistent. You have to, as Claude said, you have to have a finished product that works, and you need to keep selling to whoever. Even if that next door auntie that lives next to you is a housewife, don't underestimate housewives. Housewives have connections to other housewives who know people in the industry. Guess
Exactly.
and it's even you'd be surprised, even a person who runs a grocery chain, right? And if you know them, if your dad or your mom or your uncle or your aunt knows them really well and says, hey, my nephew is on this team and they're looking to raise funds, would you be interested to sponsor? Those guys have money. They will say yes to keep that relationship with your relative. They will say, I will be willing to give you 10,000 or 30,000 or whatever it is. But I mean, unless you ask, you're never going to know, right? And oftentimes we go for people that we don't know, but we should start with who we know, right? And I got a message from Genesis 16 Motorsports. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, guys. Like, don't keep this as a continuing factor that a team member needs to join your team and needs to put funds in your team to be a member, because then you're not going to have good member. I mean, you'll have good members for sure, but not everyone can afford to put money. They might be really interested to build a race car with you guys, like really interested, but they may not have the funds. Like even paying off their tuition must be so difficult. So why create those barriers, for having talent join your team? Sorry, I went on a complete tangent there, but I hope.
Kathy, can I say something here? In terms of sponsorship, there is no company, small or big, who believe that their sale is going to go up 50% because they put a sticker of their company on your car. It's very, very clear. Whether your sponsor is the little grocery shopping or Pizza Hut or whatever, these people will not have their sales going up because they have a sticker on your car. So what do you have to sell? Again, you have to sell emotion. A company will sponsor you because you have something in common with them. The people will say, these people have the same value as we do, and that's why we are going to sponsor them. They recruit the same way, they work from the heart, they are well organized, they are purpose driven, and that's why we will sponsor them. You have to appeal through emotion. The marketing thing like, you're going to have a coverage on TV and so on, maybe, but that shouldn't be your number one argument. Thank you.
Hi, yeah, my question is with regard to documentation. I think most teams have some sort of documentation, but how do you efficiently write a documentation and also ensure that it's grasping for the person? Like I noticed you guys have video documentations as well. That is something that we've never thought of. So what are these other techniques? And also I've noticed for some people, a documentation becomes a guideline and they just stick to that. And then the newcomers, there's no creativity. There is no research and development in any sort. That becomes a template for them to follow. So how do you ensure that does not happen?
Thank you for your question, Danish. That is very, very important. And I think the issue here is not about the documentation itself. It's about the habit of using documentation. Because do you know that it takes like 300 days until you really develop a habit, and it is very complicated. We do the things in the automatically, and we just forget that we need to document it and for the next generation and so on. And I think the most important thing is like, oh, I did something, I discovered something, I have faced a mistake, I have I discovered something new. Let me document it so I can share this. And also by writing, you also learn. For at least me, I am a person that when I started to write or drawing or typing, I really learned that. And I think it's a win-win relation. And the videos is very interesting too. And about the creativity part that you just follow the template and do like that. I think, well, in order to deal with this, I think we would have to say to the guys like, dude, just do the documentation. Don't worry if it's going to be like the previous year. Just try to focus on what you have learned from it. So the others, when they read, they're going to have the same thoughts. They're going to have the same emotions that you had when you were facing this. So I think you need to try to register what is the essence of it instead of follow the template, because it's very usual. Like, I'm going to do a documentation here. How I'm going to do that? Let me see how the guy from last year did that. So I'm going to do exactly like that. No, you don't have to do exactly like that. You need to know that the main purpose of it is like you passing what is important here, what you discovered, what you want to share with the guys from next year. So I think that's pretty much it. Did I answer your question?
Just the thing is, I wanted to ask that I meant by template as in someone who's joined newly. If they're referring to that documentation, they don't explore other methods. Like, I'll give an example. Suppose if there is a sensor in the data acquisition system, and the previous year person has documented that we used this sensor for this reason. So the following person who comes along, he sees that, okay, the team has previously used this, and they blindly would go with the same choice. They would not look at other technologies available, or they would not look at other methods that could be done. So how do you avoid that that issue? And creativity there and like research there? How do you promote that?
I see what you mean, and I think that's a very interesting topic indeed. And you're actually only going to think about that if you realize that your method has limitations and a problem. Because if you're happy with what you have and this seems good, well, you're not going to find for something new. You are going to be in the comfort zone. So okay, I'm going to say like that. But when you started to see the issues, the limitations, the possibility of improvement, and then you started to see that you need to improve. So it's important that like the guy who is teaching the newcomer, they say, oh, this is our new sensor, but this has this X and Y and Z limitations. And in the future, we want to aim for something that doesn't have this. So it's important to you to have this in mind in order to, in the future, you are the one who deals with that. And yeah, I think it's part of our spirit too. As Filipe said, we want to innovate. We're like very excited. We are very emotional people, and we are always looking for some new ways and thinking about it and having long conversation and meetings and seeing what are the possibilities. And I think it's like try to implement this as a habit in the team. And it's very difficult because a habit, it's difficult to overcome, but it's not impossible. I think that's it. Have I answered it?
Yeah, thank you.
I say that can I complete? Sorry, I say that the documentation it's like a stair, because if we have the documentation, we are here, and to do a better work and a better thing in our car, we just have to reach one step, and we don't have the documentation. We are here, and to come to the next step, it's very difficult. So the documentations make the people to increase their creativity and increase more and make a better car. So if you have a documentation from the last year, you will know all the things that the last person knew, and now you have more time and more things to think, and you can make your work better because you are here in this step. So you can go to next. If you don't documentate, you are going to go in the basis of the stair. So you have to go into the steps until the last one that the person of the last year did. So this wastes lots of time. So the documentation is essential just because of that. It's essential because they will not make the people feel comfortable, because they will know the thing that was being done in the last year. So they will need to go better with it. So the documentation makes we think more creatively, and have some new ideas and do a better car. This is a little cycle.
I can elaborate on this. When I judge a car, one of the criteria that I will use to decide if I want the team to go in the final is I will ask this simple question: show me your internal engineering report, not the 8-page mandatory design report that you have to do the judges, your internal engineering report. What do I mean by that? It has to be in writing, whether it's Excel spreadsheet or PowerPoint or ideally Word. I want to see a list of, if we had to do it again, I would do it this way. Don't do this because it doesn't work, and it doesn't work this. If you really want to do this, I wouldn't put that my priority, but if you really want to do this, this is the things that you need to assemble before you even start. It's amazing to see in Formula student team that the same team of the same university very often remake the same mistake. Well, the number one reason is lack of knowledge transfer. Okay, that's one. The other thing is that, so your documentation is about backward, but it has to be also forward. Let me give you an example. A few years ago, I was very, you know me, I'm very picky with University of Delft. It's a good team, you know, they are top 5 contender everywhere they go. And I was speaking, I said, you don't have this and you don't have that and so on. And the guy stayed composed and he said, let me show you something here. And he opened a big binder and he put his dream list, as he called it. And the dream list is 65 items that they want to do in the next 5 years. But they said, knowing the limitation that we have in our budget, people, education, access to material, technology, whatever, this is the 12 things we decided to go for this year. And these 12 things, you're going to see them on this car. The rest is for later. So they have a projection in the future of the goal, and they have also an extremely good documentation from the past. I'm not kidding you. I've judged team. When I ask them, what's the internal engineering report? They had 10 binders of 4 inches. 10 binder of 4 inches, which were going as much as 15 years behind. And that's what it is. It has to be documented so that the new team doesn't make the same mistake again and again. As Pat Clark used to say, people who don't learn from the past are destined to remake the same mistake again and again. Thank you.
Danish, I hope your question was answered. We'll take one last question, and that's from Fauzan. His question is, can I ask a question about sponsorship? I want to ask about value proposition that your team has proposed to the company.
From Nagakunita as team and from Indonesia. There were some problems, so I want to ask you what your value proposition that you propose to offer to company that my company interest to giving your team sponsorship. So in case how you deliver the story from your team to make a company relate with your team, so they can give us a sponsorship.
Mm-hmm. And so that's a very good question. I think we went through this before, but it's like I can't give you the right answer. I can't give you like the formula, because this is very peculiar to your team, because your team has characteristics that mine does not have. You have values that my team does not have. So I think the best way I said I can answer your question is try to seat you with your team, try to evaluate what are your strengths, what are your qualities, what makes you different from the other teams that will make make the difference in the company that you're looking for. So I think once you found those topics that it makes you difference and makes you better than the others, or at least you have to convince it that you are better. You don't necessarily have to be better, but you have to make a good convince of the people. Then I think you're going to start to have some real good feedback from the sponsorships, because they want to work with good students, with students that can deliver results that they and can like some value in their team. So I think that's very specifically for each case. But the flow chart for answer your question, I think is like this: trying to see what are your differences, what are your strengths, and try to elaborate a marketing plan so you can show, oh, my team is this, and it's my team is like this. So you can aggregate value within your team, and you're going to have some good results. Did I answer your question?
Yes, but seems with Mr. Claude Rouelle said that the sticker is not giving an increased marketing for the company. So what we need to propose to them?
Sorry, I think I didn't got this one, Katie. Can you?
So so he said the car is not the one that like your sticker is not going to do all the work for you, right? I mean, or to give that exposure for your company. And that's what Claude said. It's all about the passion that you show, like how you are selling your passion for why you are on the team and what the team gives you, and that's what you want your sponsor to buy. And that's what even Pedro was trying to say. It has to be at the end of the day, yes, you have a list of things that you'll give your sponsor, a sticker or logo on the website, all those things on social media, maybe your an email campaign. But most of the time sponsors sponsor you because of the passion that you show in your project, right? And also many times you'll probably hear a sponsor ask, oh, how many times did you win? Or how many times did you finish the competition? And I think that's also something that sells more, is like that you have a finished product that actually works.
Yeah, in the end, you're like selling your product. It's like Claude said, you're selling your emotions. And you also need to come up with other things that you will sum to this company. For example, you can say that the company will be more related to the development in India. So it will like be helping, it will like be incentivizing the engineering growth in India. You can come up with very good points that will make like very attractive to this company to sponsorship you and give you values. And another thing that is important, I don't know if this is the approach that you might take, but you can't like ask for money for the sponsorships. It's not like that, because if you do like that, it's probably that you're going to have a big fat no. So you have to like try to elaborate more and try to, I don't know, ask for resources that are more it's more likely that they are going to give you parts instead of real money. So, and then you can use the money that the team joins with other resources to emergencies, and your car will have only parts that came from sponsorships. So I think that's a very good practice, and this is how we have been trying to save money.
Another thing that we use here in the EESC in our team, we say to the sponsor that the connection of the sponsor and the industry and the university. This connection of the industry of the college. All of the industries love it. They like to have the connection with the students. They like new people in their knowing their industry and this thing. They like to do presentations in our events and this kind of thing. This is very important to us. When you do some presentation or some event, we call some of our sponsors, and they can sell or talk more about their industry or their things, and they love it.
All right, I think we've come to the end of our session. Thank you. So thank you, first of all, to the entire team. Really appreciate that you guys spent like close to 2.5 hours over here, plus the hour of setup before that. So thank you again. Thank you for your efforts towards doing this. Claude, thank you for putting this initiative together and for launching it and getting such an amazing team to work with us both yesterday, Monash and EESC-USP. Really appreciate your time, guys, and Claude, your time as well. To all the participants today, it was great having you. I see familiar faces that came out yesterday. It really shows the motivation you have, and we hope you channel that passion and motivation in this year in the competition season as well. So we will have to end the session right now. And
if I could just say one thing, I have to say, with the risk of being not too emotional, but this session really warmed my heart. It is United Nations of Formula students. We have kids from many different countries, people from Brazil, yesterday from Australia, so many people there. It's absolutely wonderful. It means that we are one world, we are one nation, we are one culture, with different perspective and different choice, but we are linked by an immense motivation. And that is absolutely wonderful. And it's not about role centers or slip angle. It's about people, and you just proved it. My deepest thank you to everybody from the heart. Thank you.
It was an absolutely pleasure to be here. We are absolutely thrilled. We really like the opportunity. I hope this helps. And in case you want to talk with us more about other things, and I talk a lot, and we're not even talking about my favorite thing, that is role center, sleep angles, and so. And if you want to talk about project too, you have my contacts, and then we can have some decent chat about this. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everybody. And have a great, for those who are in India, have a good evening. For those who have a good afternoon and the rest of the day. Really nice to have you all over here today. Take care.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.